Chair, members of the board, Dr. Casey. So did want to introduce a couple of guests I have here tonight to help us with the presentation on the Western Area High School. So Josh Davis, my friend and colleague from Chesterfield County Public Schools. He's the COO over there, which if you ask him what that means, it means he deals with buses and buildings. So happy to have him here. Also have the Honorable Ryan Harder. I think Mr. Kelly, you pointed that out as well. The school board rep from the Matoaca district. So appreciate them coming out tonight. Just to give a brief presentation on the Western Area High School. So late last week, there was a press release announcing the location of that specific school, but wanted to provide a little context and history as to how that came about. So in front of you see a concept plan that was for the technology park out near Mosley. So with that particular plan, you can see kind of in teal in the upper right corner, and I'll circle it in red. We had conceptually shown a high school just to the south of Horner Park. That was actually done in part because originally we had shown a high school that would adjoin the elementary school, middle school, kind of in that area where the red circle is. When we went through that exercise and the traffic planning at the time, we determined that, really from a community perspective, that was just going to put too much traffic in the same place at the same time. So we had decided to relocate it to the western side. As we started really getting into this and developing the plans for the middle school and then also the north-south road, which is this road kind of right here, we were thinking, well, maybe perhaps it would make sense to locate it again on property to the east of the proposed Powhite Parkway. And we happen to own, and I'll highlight it in a different color, I'll use green, this property as well, which was actually not included as part of the zoning case. So the property that I've shown in green, approximately 120 acres. It was a zone for a subdivision called Cold Creek back in about the early 2000s, and it just never come out of the ground. So this really looked to be a viable alternative for the location for the high school. It had a couple of ancillary benefits. Number one is because it was zoned already for residential, by putting a high school there, you could immediately eliminate approximately 150 residential units. So you relieve not just the traffic generation, but also the student generation that would have come out of those units. Again, with some other units under consideration because there is surrounding other residential property. Number two, because the board really controls all of the property on the east side, we could deal with some of those other traffic concerns. If you remember, the main concern came from Westerly at the time was that the traffic generated by the high school would require 4-laning of Westerly Parkway. Because you control all of this on the eastern side, you can make adjustments to residential units and do some other things to offset the trips that will be generated by the high school. So it made a lot of sense. In addition, you have access to two major roads, Duval Road that runs east-west, and then the proposed north-south road that runs north-south. So unlike some of our other schools where you're kind of hamstrung relative to access, with this one you could have 1, 2, 3 multiple accesses into and out of the site, so you don't end up with some of those log jams that you do at some of the other high schools. So really made a lot of sense just from an engineering and concept plan perspective. Then when you start to look at even enrollments in the area, this is hot off the press, and I did confirm with Josh right before this that these numbers are accurate for this year. So you can clearly see that the school of need currently is Cosby High School, which as the crow flies from this proposed location is about 2 miles. If you travel the road, it's about 3 miles. So relatively close proximity, but obviously this is where the need is the most, at 125% capacity. Interestingly enough is, when you look at the overall total, the capacity is at 94% overall. So again, obviously one that sticks out in terms of need. When you start to look at some other maps, and this is not going to have any numbers on it, but it should give you an idea kind of what we're talking about. So this is just a heat map showing the housing units in the approved pipeline. The proposed school location is kind of in this area right here, but you could see that, with the yellow and red colors being the ones with the most units approved in the pipeline, that again, this particular location makes sense. One of the more interesting ones we did demographically is this one, which shows the population under 18 within the county. So again, really speaks to that, where are folks that are of school age moving into? Again, the dark red being the more dense locations of folks that are under 18. So again, you could see that it really overlaps with that kind of western area, again, with the school kind of being out towards that location. But it kind of explains why we're having so many of those pressures out at Cosby High School as to maybe some of the other schools where, if you look at the map, you'll see that although, yes, there's growth occurring, you're not having the same number of school-age children. So it really did make a lot of sense to locate it here. So on your agenda tonight, you have a request to really initiate the process. It could be substantial accord or rezoning or both to allow for those 120 acres to be a school site. We will obviously have multiple community meetings to discuss this with folks and really make sure that we're including the appropriate mitigating measures for a high school in this location. We'll have a detailed staff review and analysis, just like we do with any application, and of course, multiple public hearings at the Planning Commission and Board of Supervisors level to confirm all of that. So we're going to work on setting those up, but tonight is the first step. Obviously, we're going to be cognizant of holidays and other things coming up in November, December. So probably look to really have some of those community meetings in earnest starting in early 2024. And with that, I will hand it over to Josh, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about the actual schedule for opening a high school by August of 2027.
Thank you, Jesse. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Casey. We're very excited to get this project underway. We're very thankful that the county has identified land. It's great land. It's a great site. And this is going to be a large project. First time we've built a high school in at least a decade and a half. We're talking 340,000 square feet. It's going to be multi-story. There's going to be capacity for 2,400 students. We've already been working with our architect, Stantec, and we've done what we call the programming phase. In other words, how many English classrooms, how many science labs, how many computer science classrooms do we need? And we had a prototype from a school that they built in Loudoun County. So it's going to be a lot like that school, but there's still a lot to do to adapt it to this site and for Chesterfield County. And you can see the schedule shows the site design process and the building design over probably just under the next 12 months. And that's aggressive. And we're going to work very closely with county staff to do everything, because there's many bullets and dash lines under this in regards to environmental approvals and site plan permits and building permits. And then we're going to go to the procurement process, and we're going to start constructing the thing in early 2025 to open in August of 2017. We're going to break the ground clearly early 25. We're going to cut the ribbon in the summer of 27. And there's a lot of fifth grade students that are attending schools such as Mosley, and I'm not going to mention all that might be candidates, because that whole choice of the attendance zone will be very important to us as we get near the opening. But they're in the fifth grade now. They're going to enter this school as a ninth grader and have 4 great years going to high school in a brand new facility in Chesterfield County. We'd be happy to take any questions, and again, appreciate Mr. Harder coming out this evening also.
Board members. Just one question on the contract. So, like for the 2 middle schools we're working on right now, we actually, for both the Western Area Middle School and the one in Fallen Creek, we were able to negotiate one contract for both of those schools, correct?
No, those were separate solicitations, 1 year apart.
Same construction
company.
But
we do have the same company, yes, sir, Gulf Seaboard.
Okay.
And they came in for excellent price.
Okay. Any other board members' questions? All right. Thank you. I guess we need to move forward with a motion on this, correct?
Correct. Yes.
So I'm open to a motion if anyone would like to make it.
Substantial accord, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
It would be a motion for, to approve the filing of the applications for whatever land use approval is necessary for the site.
So moved.
And you would be doing it for the reasons that are expressed for the public purpose reason of providing a school for the capacity numbers that you currently have, to relieve that and to provide a high school at that particular location. Okay.
I'm going to just say so moved to everything that the county attorney just said.
Second.
Any other discussion? I would just comment to one comment on this. You notice that the two big neighborhoods that are out there, both Mag Green and Harper's Mill, that are coming out of the ground right now. Mag Green is about 1,700 and something units, and it will continue to come out of the ground. And this will be positioned to service that neighborhood as well as others. And so we will look forward to to find out what the redistricting zones are going to look like for both the elementary school that'll go in, the middle school that will go in, and the high school that will go in. Motion's on the floor. Any other discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? It's carried.